Okay, 1644, good luck. So we've not played before, no head-to-head score there. So we get black for this one. What do we want to play? 3,600 games for opponent, just about. I'll risk a Sicilian for this one. This is going to be a risk. I'm not far off 1,000 games now myself. I normally play the Caro, so we'll just risk a Sicilian just for that little bit of variety. Okay, goes for one of these modern lines. Let's just develop. Okay, I'm going to charge the centre now. Oh, he actually takes. It's more really a d4 game, I guess, now, than... Even though we haven't got d4 on the board. We're just going to get our bishop up somewhere. We'll just get castle, then we'll worry about what to do. So is bishop up a move before a castle? Here, down, and see if you do this and go really bold. If you don't, we might have knight up. But it doesn't really create anything, does it? Let's castle. Now we can start getting a bit adventurous. So we can try and break out on the queen's side, or we can try and put some pressure on the king's side, but we don't want to lose our pawns if we can help it. Very flexible opening for both sides, so both sides have lots of options here. I like the idea of trying to advance here, but what am I going to do once I've done it? I'm not sure. So let's bring our bishop up and just pin that knight. Knight in, it's more just a nuisance move. It's, you know, 2 would attack it, 2 would defend it. He breaks the pin immediately. So I could go forward here, actually hit the knight, and if you come in, I can take. And then we've got a nice pawn structure. Yeah, I like the look of that, actually. I'm going to go forward and hit the knight there. I expect he'll come in and we'll probably trade. But it gives us a little bit of extra space. He's actually gone back. So I can take here. Bishop takes. Queen up looks like a sensible move. Knight in is covered. Yeah, let's play queen up. I need to get my rooks more centralized if I can. And try not to collapse these pawns. So I'm looking at bishop up. That's the basic move I'm looking at now, to remove the defending bishop. Then we can maybe build a nice connect 4 here, something like that. Rook in the centre, rook somewhere in the centre. So he's played knight across, so he's stopping us from going here. That's logical, common sense. Bishop in now could be a move, threatening to take here. But I guess right now you just take with a queen. Let's just move the rook across first. Bishop up here, we've got the option to drop back, but probably bishop to d6 and challenge the knight. There's no obvious way to break through right now. He's doing pretty well here. Yeah, just trying to decide, where do I want to put this rook? Do I go really bold? But with the bishop on, it's risky. It's risky, isn't it? So let's come here just so we pressure this knight. He's got the bishop and the queen there, so obviously he can always take back. But take. Does it allow a move like rook up to annoy the pawn? Oh, he's put the bishop on this diagonal, so we want to try and not let this get blasted open completely. But that might be a move now. Take, rook up, and we hit the pawn. Take here. Gotta be careful not to blunder a piece, but rook up and we can double up could be nice. How do we do this? How do we do it? I don't quite see. I could take here first, knight across as well, and sack a pawn. Or just take, then bishop up and try and remove that defending bishop. That looks like a nice plan, actually. I'm going to get rid of this knight and try and remove this bishop, but I've still got to figure out if I want to go here. But what does he do? Does he try and guard the pawn? He probably has to guard the pawn, doesn't he? Probably. Rook up here. If we get the pawn, we're attacking the bishop. So rook up. I don't see an easy way to trap the rook. Doesn't mean there isn't one, but I don't see it. Knight guards my bishop, so as long as my knight doesn't get deflected, my bishop's fine. So it's got to be right to try and get forward then. It might be a blunder, of course it might. I might be missing something. But I'm down a minute on the clock already. I'm just going to look to bring the other rook across if I can. Double up and just see how he guards the pawn. There's nothing wrong with white just rook across guarding here. Then I can maybe look to go and try and remove this bishop, or just double my rook up first. Might give a chance for some tactics if we double up, and then say rook goes here, remove the knight. It just gives your opponent a chance to go wrong, but one of the rooks across to guard the pawn looks perfectly fine. Oh, he's played the queen back, so he's gone ultra cautious, but rook across now here. It gives him a chance to blunder. That's why I'm going to play this. The only reason I'm going to play this. If he goes here, we find a take. But rook across would blunder, bishop takes with a nice tactic. If you take back, we take the rook. Queen takes, rook takes, rook takes. He should see it. He's a decent player, 1600. Good rating, so he should spot that. And if he does, we'll probably play bishop in and try and move the defending bishop. But it just gives your opponent a chance to go wrong. But of course, if you take straight away, the knight can take back. So you just remove the defending knight first. Otherwise, my next idea is trying to move this defending bishop to take pressure off the diagonal, to in turn then try and advance without the knight being weak. So that's the sort of concept I'm looking at. And hope I don't get my rook trapped there. Of course, I could easily miss a simple move somewhere, and the rook is suddenly doomed. I'm just trying to clear my mind. Now I'll worry about my move when it's my move. But they're the basic ideas that I've got in mind, so it's just up to white now what their idea is that they're trying to come up with. A simple holding move like h6 could be useful as well, give the king that emergency square for later on. Just check that they are connected. Yeah, they've got an excellent connection there, so they're just using some thinking time here. Okay, now we've got 2 minutes on the clock, so at some point we'll try and slow down and use them, but if we can get right up on the clock, we want to not play too slowly so our opponent can't use too much of our time in an ideal world. But if you're not sure what to do with white here, just play a holding move like a4, something like that, or shuffle a rook to b1. Unless he just stopped completely, but no, he's actually played across and blundered it, so he loses a piece. The idea is to remove the defending piece here, so we gain a knight, lose a bishop, but then we gain a rook, lose a rook, gain a queen, lose a rook. So he's just blundered the tactic there. And if he takes here, we can take back. If you attack the bishop, we can just run. So that's what I was trying to calculate earlier on. So it should win a piece or an exchange like rook for queen. But yeah, if you weren't sure what to do, but you're aware of that, you just do a holding move, a4, rook to b1, something like that. But he's just missed the basic tactic there. So now we can just take, and that should win the queen for a rook. Right, so now I've just got to make sure I push a pawn and not blunder the back rank. Oh, he's had enough, yeah. He hadn't seen it coming, so he's just missed it. So just a basic tactic there. But yeah, if you had seen that and you weren't sure, just shuffle, make a holding move, and try and let your opponent use some of their time. But let's see what it was in engine speak. Oh, only 20 moves. They're the move times for both players there. But it's really just an opening, this one. We haven't played anything more than an opening, so it doesn't really matter what these figures say. But we check all the games in the same way, exactly the same as each other. Apart from that mistake at the end, it might just be completely flatline level the whole way through. It certainly is out the first few moves, as we can see. Okay, so 94 versus 80 on the accuracy. Let's have a quick flick through. It's up to move 9, move 10 when it starts to change, but we've gained a little advantage, then blundered it back to level, or it's gone back to level. And then it's from move, what, 13, move 12, 13 after, you can see a blunder there with b3. I'm just risking a Sicilian this time, not a Sicilian player, just a bit of variety instead of the carol. So queen to d2 is an inaccuracy here. h3 was preferred, and then the bishop back to e6, as you can see here. So that's what the engine preferred there. So d4 was good, as was queen up. Now here, I should have actually played the bishop up to challenge that knight immediately instead of developing the rook first. So I should have gone bishop to d6 immediately. Okay, so that was why I went from plus 1.2 to level. Then opponent has blundered with b3. Got to kick this bishop out was the idea there. So presumably the idea was to remove this so I could still go in here, which is obviously what I was aiming to do. But now bishop up was good. Bishop takes was good. Rook e2 was good. Doubling the rooks up was good. And then here, yeah, he's made this mistake. It's just been flagged as a mistake, not an actual blunder. But queen d1 was best. Then bring up the queen to f5, so we're putting pressure on the knight. Excuse me, the rook is guarded. Knight jumps to h4. The queen goes to h5, threatening a nasty discovery. f3 comes in. Drop the bishop all the way back, just slow, steady. The knight comes into g4 because the rook still guards the other rook. So you're threatening to jump in here. But obviously we're never going to see all of this coming in a rapid game. But that was what the best line was, and that's a little bit bold for my liking there, but that's what the best line actually was. So doubling the rooks up was good there, and then I've just spotted that tactic to win the piece. The opponent clearly hadn't seen it coming, or if they had, they just hadn't seen anything better to do, but just shuffle, try and use some of your opponent's time. So we got the win, it is what it is.